So on a recent Chelsea video, I had this comment. All right, Luke, I reckon I can do that. And not only that, but I'm going to get them back to the Premier League in 2 seasons or less. And I guess the first thing for us to do is have a look at the squad. I don't know much about Birmingham City other than you had Jude Bellingham pay for you, retired his number, and Stourbridge mocked you for it. I've arranged this by current ability, obviously the best at the top and the worst ones at the bottom. There's quite a lot of loans in here at your top. Hannibal, obviously know of him from the Manchester United series. He looks really, really good, at least for this level in the Championship. So he's going to be a very, very key player. I also think, let me know down in the comments below if you are a Birmingham City fan. Placheta, I think he's actually on loan, but for some reason the database has put him here permanently. So you've got a free player. Bielik I know as well because he was recently at Blackburn Rovers when we did that one about a week ago. So he will be very, very useful. We've also got Austin Trusty. Where's he from originally? He's on loan from Arsenal. Okay, so he's a centre-back. Because I said, though, there's a lot of loanies in here. We've then got Tahith Chong, I think formerly of Everton. Not formerly of Everton at all. He's formerly of Manchester United. Never mind. Why did I think he was at Everton? Anyway, he looks quite good. He's your first permanent player on here in this top 10. And then we've got Jorginho Bakuna as well, formerly of Huddersfield and of Rangers, has come over. It looks like you've just signed him potentially. He's a central midfielder. So just having a look quickly at our top 11. My first concern is the goalkeeper, John Ruddy's not until all the way down here. Although he looks quite decent. He's getting on a bit at the age of 35, but I don't think that's as big an issue when you're a goalkeeper. We've got an attacking winger on the left in the form of Hannibal. We've got Bielik, who's a defensive midfielder. Trusty, who's a centre-back. Another right winger on the opposite side, right back. So I'm thinking it's a 4-3-3 then. Finances wise, there's not a huge amount in the bank. 500,000 to spend and a little bit of spare wage budget, which amounts to £6,000 a week. So it's going to be quite difficult to get players in if we did want to do it this season. I guess that would mean selling players on. Realistically, we've got Jordan Graham, but he's just joined the club. It will say 2021. I'm assuming the ones that say 2021 are because they've recently joined and the database has to put them at the start of this. So the ones that are 2021 will have just joined. So it's Jordan Graham, so we're unlikely to be able to get rid of him in the nicest way possible. Jonathan Lecco is not the best player here, but he could be a good Championship player, and also I like him because I've had him at teams before. I might have had him at West Brom because I've done the save with them before, potentially. I can't remember where I played with him, but I do like him. Sam Cosgrove is out on loan. We've then got Jordan James. He is only 17. He's not great, but he's got lots of potential, so he's worth keeping. And Neil Etheridge is 3-star. Worth having as a backup goalkeeper. So realistically, there's not really a lot of players to get rid of. Our squad size, if we have a look at that, is 22 people. This might be a bit difficult. And having a look at last season table, we can see Birmingham all the way down here in 20th. Where we predicted to finish this time round. I think it said 16th. It might not actually properly say yet. I mean, predicted to finish 15th this season. I think the main thing here is, are we going to be able to improve this team at all during this summer transfer window with very, very little funds or wage budget? It's going to be difficult, but we're going to have a go. So it is the 1st of September. The transfer window has finished, and there has been some ingoings and outgoings over at Birmingham. We can see straight away on this page, Finley Thorndike has gone out on loan. Not expecting to play any football this season for us, so he's over on loan at Tranmere. We've then got Harley Dean has left the club to join Coventry. It's a very, very small deal, just under 50k for him. But realistically, again, at 31 years old and only 2.5-star current ability, not someone I expect to ever be making any contribution for us. And the same could be said for Jordan Graham. Again, he's 27 years old, but he doesn't look like he's going to improve much, and he's got so many players in front of him in his position that once again, I just thought it was best to get him off of the wage budget, to be honest. Jonathan Lecco has gone out on a loan over to Oxford in League One. I'm expecting him to get some game time there. We can see he's already made 3 appearances and got himself a goal and got a 7.1 rating, so hopefully that works out. He comes back and can play some sort of decent role for us. He's got a decent Premier League player potential ability, so he definitely has the ability to be part of this club. We have brought in one player though, and that is Josip Stanisic. I've no idea if I'm saying his name correctly. He's Croatian, as you can see, and he is what we've brought him in to be is a right back, but he can play as a centre back, he can play as a left back and cover us there if we really want him to. He can be our defensive midfielder as well, so a very versatile player, and as we can see from his coach report, lots and lots of potential to be a good Premier League player, which is ideal when you're trying to get promoted into the top flight. We have paid 800,000 for him. It's not all up front because we only had a 500,000 transfer budget at the start of this, and that has kind of meant he's the only player we could bring in, but he was the one I felt made the biggest difference to the team. Obviously as well, the league has started, and looking at this at the moment, we're doing all right really, aren't we? We had a decent pre-season in the friendlies. In the league so far, we've won the majority of our games. We have had a draw against Reading, and then we had a 2-0 loss to Middlesbrough. But globally, if we have a look at the league table on the 1st of September, we are second, but we do have a game in hand on first place Reading, which is ideal. This is a tactic I'm using. It's not a downloaded one. It's just one that I've built around what players fit into what roles. If we pick this without any restriction, just as the best 11, this is what the assistant manager thinks is our best 11. I'm tending to agree with that. Stanisic, we kind of put him into play there. It does mean that Dion Sanderson moves over to the middle alongside Trusty. Only thing I don't like about that is both of our centre backs are on loan, but it is what it is. There's not a lot we can do about that at the moment. Slightly annoying, but hey ho. We've got Colin over on the left, Bielik obviously on loan as well as our defensive midfielder, as a deep line playmaker. We've then got Bakuna and Sunlik in the middle as a ball winning midfielder. So trying to stay very, very compact here with these four players all on a defensive role. And then we've got Hannibal over on the left at the moment, Chong on the right, and Troy Deeney up front. We have got a couple of injuries. We can see that Hannibal is injured at the moment. Big injury, as we can see, is Plachetta, who is out for 2 to 6 weeks. He's already been out for a couple of weeks, and realistically we do have quite a thin squad. There's only one player available outside of the substitutes bench. That could end up costing us a little bit this season, but it was difficult to do a lot else with the money we had. But with that, let's simulate forward to the end of the season and see how Birmingham get on. So we've reached the end of the season with Birmingham. How did we get on? Well, we already saw at the start of the Sky Bet Championship season we were doing quite well. We then left the team at the start of September, went on and simulated the rest of the season, and for some reason we instantly started losing more games. So we lost against QPR, we drew against Wigan, we did win against Cardiff, and then we lost against Norwich. That is really not a great September. October, slightly better, but again, we're dropping points all over the place. November, of course, is very short because of the Qatar World Cup coming up, so just the one game, which was a loss to Blackburn. December, we've come back. We look fractionally better there. There is a loss to Millwall, but there's some nice wins in there. We don't concede for the first 3 games, in fact. But January, 2 wins and 3 losses, just not really good enough. There's a loss against QPR there. It's a 4-3, so we did manage to score goals, but we've lost against them. We didn't score at all against Stoke, and then we've lost 3-1 against Norwich, who I think were first place at the time. We've then lost the first 2 opening games of February as well. Again, we haven't scored in either of those games, which seems like a little bit of a problem. From there, we've actually done okay. There's another loss in April. There's 2 losses at the end of the season, but we're going to get to those in a minute, because before we do that, we need to have a look at the table, and the table states that we finish in 5th place in the playoff positions. Now, there's a slight spoiler there, because you can see there's still 2 teams in the playoffs, and we are not one of them. And that's because those 2 losses at the end of the season against Swansea were the semi-finals of the playoffs, and we've not managed to score in either of them. I haven't actually looked at the games yet, so we'll have a quick look at them. How did we perform? realistically, that's not exactly great, is it? There are shots in there, but nobody's performed pretty well. We've got Hogan on a 6.1 over on the right hand side, which is just absolutely atrocious. And the first leg, I'd imagine, isn't a lot different. It's not. If anything, it's worse. It's a 6.1 from Chung on that right hand side that time. It's really been a tough season there. Well, it's been a good season. It's been a tough end to the season. We got knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup by Arsenal as well, in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup by Southampton. So no promotion this season. I feel like, though, getting at least into the playoffs was quite good. A club vision. We're struggling to work within the wage budget. We'll talk about that in a second. There's lots of stuff in the 5-year plan, and this season the board want us to get a top half finish. Now, I have a slight problem with that, and I think I might have worked out where Birmingham City's problem is. Let me know down in the comments below if this is a thing in real life, because my transfer budget for the next season is 187,000. Now, I haven't put anything on installments. I put one transfer, the one transfer we did on installments, but it's not loads of installments. It's not anything major. It's £300,000. And my wage budget, I haven't added anything to. We're currently overspending on that by, let's do the maths for me, please, Football Manager, almost £50,000 a week. So we finish in the playoffs, which is substantially better, and you gave me pittance to spend on more players, and you're going to make me sell some because we're overspending on the wage budget. And just to show you how bad that is, there's 16 people here on this squad. One of them's a graying out player. This is going to be very difficult. Let's just have a quick look at performances while we're here. Troy Deeney, 24 goals in all competitions this season. Scott Hogan has managed 12 himself. Plachetta has got 9. I'm a little disappointed. Obviously, some of the players have gone back now to their teams. We would have had Hannibal on there as well, for example, if we go and find him. I think this was always going to be a problem, that players were going to go back to their teams. For example, he's gone back to Manchester United now. He got 9 goals, 9 appearances. He did pretty well, in all fairness, but now we're left with a team. All the low knees have gone home, and our team looks quite bare, as well as the fact that we've got players going out of contract here. George Friend goes out of contract. Jonathan Lecco also goes out of contract, as does Maxime Collin. This could be a very long window. Well, considering the complete lack of funds we had at the start of this, I think I've actually done alright bringing in quite a few players to improve the squad. But before we do that, let's have a look at the players out. The one that made the most difference for us wasn't one we actually chose to sell, with Chong leaving to go to Sheffield United, who are still in the Championship with us, for £15 million. Now, that was a deal. There was such a big transfer fee that the board came in and basically went, we are selling him. I wasn't opposed to it, though, because obviously it means we got a little bit of that. I think we get 40% of the transfer revenue, so it did allow us to bring in some players, which we'll have a look in at a minute. We also sold our backup goalkeeper Etheridge. He's gone to Liverpool, which is a really bizarre one, for £9,000. He made absolutely no appearances for us last season, so it wasn't really worth having him in the squad particularly. Maxime Collin left on a free at the end of his contract as well, to go over to Nimes on a free. We then had our backup striker as well in Jutkiewicz. He's gone over to Sunderland for £75,000 as well. Again, he didn't play any games last season, so it didn't make a lot of sense to keep him here. A couple of players gone out on loan. Gary Gardner's gone to Vancouver for £425,000, and then we had Sam Cosgrove also leave the club. I think he didn't make any appearances last season. Again, £9,000 for him, and it allowed us to bring in a few players. The first of those is Joe Aribo. We spent £1 million on him to bring him over from Southampton. We can see again, he's another one. You know the sort of players I like by now if you watch the channel. Someone with a little bit of potential. But more importantly, it means we've changed formation because of this here. His 16 dribbling, 14 finishing, and 19 first touch, as well as 16 technique. He's a very good technical player, so we are going to be playing with a centre attacking midfielder for this season. We also brought in Terence Congolo. He cost us 1.9 million to come over for Fulham. Again, he's someone who's good enough for the team now. Not necessarily a huge amount of potential, but we can chuck him straight in there in that wing back position. He can cover at centre back as well if we do need him to. And then we can see we've got a lot more players here to go through. The first to nose through the door was Shane Duffy, a centre-back, because we had literally no centre-backs at the club after that last transfer window. All of our loanees are leaving the club. He's best as a non-nonsense centre-back, but he's going to be playing as a central defender. But in our side, we paid $350,000 to bring him to the club. Again, looking at his report, he's a good championship player. I think he's good enough to make a big contribution this season. We then got Matty Longstaff come in on a free. Again, we're not expecting to do loads at the moment. He's got the potential to be a leading championship player, and he's kind of there as a bit of squad rotation, but we got him on a free, so we completely take that. We then got Anderson Arroyo. He's come over on a free as well. He was on loan at Wickham. He was on loan at Liverpool. I'm not actually sure. He's been on loans for a long time, so he was actually at Liverpool. Did he leave at some point? No. So I'm thinking that's a bug in the game, because he was at Liverpool but then on loan at Liverpool. So I'm not entirely sure what's happened there. But we've got him on a free. Again, he's a bit of a rotation player. He's probably not going to be doing a huge amount this season, but it's nice to have him there just to increase our numbers a little bit. Steven Segerson comes in as well from Fulham, I believe. Again, another one we got on a free. He's going to be the backup on that right-hand side to Stanisic, who obviously was one of our key players last season. We've then on another free from Inter Milan got Facundo Colidio. He's come over to, again, be a bit of a backup to Troy Deeney. Hopefully he can improve in the future as well. But he can play as a winger on that left-hand side or as a striker as well. And again, he has got room to improve and be a leading championship player. We've then got a loan in just to give us, again, a little bit of squad depth over on that right-hand side, which is Marquinhos from Arsenal. We're not paying, we are paying some of his wages this one, I think. No, we're not actually paying any of his wages, which is ideal. That's what we want to see. Jack Stevens was our next player in, another centre back to probably partner with Shane Duffy this season. £1.2 million for him. But, you know, we kind of needed someone. He's coming at 3.5 stars. I think he'll be very, very important this season. We then got a backup goalkeeper in the form of Callum Ward. He's going to be the deputy to John Ruddy this season. £450,000 to bring him to the club. We then got a free transfer in the form of Bobby Decordiov Reed. He can play on either side here. He can play in the centre and he can play as a striker if we need him to. Again, got him on a free from Fulham. He's had a good start to life here so far. 3 goals in 6 games. Beautiful stuff. We then brought in the other Longstaff. I believe they're related. Yeah, they are. Matty Longstaff is his brother, as we can see here. So we managed to bring in both the Longstaff brothers. This one, obviously, the one that currently plays at Newcastle. £1.2 million for him. I think that's a great signing, especially as he could be a good Premier League player. And again, I'd expect him to make a big contribution this season. We brought in a second loanee in the form of Teden Mengi from Manchester United. We're not paying any of his wages either. But again, it gives us a little bit more depth in that central defender area. And then our last transfer isn't necessarily one for this season in Connor Coventry. But again, we got him on a free coming over from West Ham, and he could improve a little bit. Hopefully we can make some money on him. We're having a look at the moment at his transfer. We could get a little bit of money for him already, so if he improves, it's someone we can flip later on, bring some money to the club. Otherwise, we can see this looks a lot fuller on this page now. Stanisic is our best player, followed by Aribo, Kangolo, obviously on that left-hand side, after defence as well. Looks really, really good. Jack Stevens, Troy Deeney has managed to start scoring goals again. He didn't score much at the start of the season, so we are a few games in already. If we have a quick look at them, we're not doing great, in all honesty. We could be doing a little bit better. We've already suffered our loss to Nottingham Forest. We've had a couple of draws already. At the moment, that leaves us in 7th place, 11 points after 6 games. So we're going to need to improve that very, very quickly if we're going to get promoted this season. But let's simulate forward to the end of the 23-24 season and see where we finish. Right, so second season simulated. How did we do with Birmingham City? We obviously saw up to about here, I think it was, with the Nottingham Forest loss, and it kind of was a bit shaky throughout. We can kind of see September As we mentioned, there was a couple of draws, or there's a draw in there, a couple of losses. Moving into October, it's kind of the same. 2 losses in October. There's a draw against Blackburn as well, but we do manage to beat Sheffield Wednesday. November, however, that seems to be our turning point. A 4-0 win against Blackpool to start it off, a 4-0 win against West Brom to follow that one up, and we continue winning throughout. Middlesbrough, Bristol City and QPR all pushed aside, and Cardiff at the start of December. The rest of December is a bit dodgy as well. I always seem to find that in simulations. I don't know if it's like you're getting towards the January transfer window and players start going, maybe I want to leave, maybe I'm not getting enough game time, etc, etc, but it always seems to go not that well. There's 3 wins in there, of course. There's a couple of losses against Rotherham and against Huddersfield as well, and then a couple of draws. Not ideal form, but we move on it. We've then got a 3-2 loss against Blackburn to start us off in January, but then all of a sudden we seem to turn around at form again. A 6-3 win against Reading. That's a massively high scoring game. 3 goals there from Plachetta and a couple from Congolo as well. We then continue that by beating Sheffield Wednesday and by beating Luton. February, looking at that, again, it's a very, very hit and miss sort of month. There's a 5-1 loss there against Brighton where we've just got absolutely mauled. Just completely and utterly mauled. Our possession is awful. We're not really good anywhere. There's a 6.1 there from James, a 6.2 from Aribo. Ruddy in goal has got a 5.9. Not really promotion winning form, is it? March, again, we start off quite well. Middlesbrough, Bristol City, QPR, again, the teams that we're beating. We've got a 3-1 loss there against Sheffield United, who are very near the top for the entirety of the season, and then a 3-0 win against Wigan. And in April, we absolutely collapsed. We're coming towards the end of the season, and we've decided we no longer want any points on the board. As we can see, only the 1 win, a 1-0 win against Hull. All 3 other matches in that were losses. The end of the season itself, not much better. A 3-1 loss to Cardiff and a 1-1 draw with Preston. So our last 6 games, we only picked up 1 win. But despite that, we did still manage to get to the playoffs, and we face Sheffield United first in the semi-finals. This is the first leg of that. We managed to win that one at 1-0. We can see we've pretty much dominated throughout by the looks of it. Possession, we've given up a lot, but 19 shots, and we end up winning that one 1-0 through a goal by Troy Deeney. The second leg goes all the way to extra time before we eventually draw and see ourselves through to the playoff final. Once again, we've looked pretty good on the day, but there's a 2-minute goal there by Indeyi from Sheffield United, and it's taken us until the 118th minute through a penalty by Troy Deeney to actually get ourselves back into the game. But that 1-1 draw is enough to see us through to the final. And the final is against Nottingham Forest, a team I don't think we've managed to beat at all in these 2 seasons. But on this occasion, the boys turn up and we managed to win. It's 3 goals on the day. It's Congolo, Deeney and Colido scoring those ones. I haven't watched this at all. I kind of want to go and see how our goals came about. I think it's a nice thing to see. We've got them promoted to the Premier League. Let's see how Birmingham managed to do that. First one, here we go. We've got a corner from Sezignon. That one's just a really nice goal there from Congolo. I'm not sure why he's the man that is being played into. So I assume he's playing at left back, but maybe he wasn't in this match. I didn't take a lot of notice. Bakuna there, whipping that one in to Troy Deeney. It's another headed goal on the 62nd minute of this tie. And here on the 85th minute, 2-0 up already. Deeney nodding that one down to Colidio, and he has managed to put that one in the bottom of the net, and that is a win that sees us into the Premier League. If we have a quick look at how our season came about, we'll have a look at the league table. We can see we finished 5th, quite a lot behind sort of 1st and 2nd place of Brighton and Brentford. For the rest of our season, if we just have a look at past positions, I haven't seen this yet either. I've also managed to click on us. There we go. We were in 2nd early on. We dropped all the way down this season as low as 11th before going all the way back up We managed to get to third at one point, but we were never in those top 2 spots again, and we kind of then flirted with third and 6 or somewhere around there, as low as 6, 4th all the way until the last 3 games of the season where we were 5th. In other competitions, not that they're overly important for this rebuild, but we got knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Newcastle United, and the 1st round of the Carabao Cup really early on by Nottingham Forest. That team, like I said, don't seem to be able to beat them unless it's an important game. And what's really interesting is what's on your screen now. This happened literally a few days ago in game. Right before the playoff final, in fact, Birmingham takeover completed. Now, I only even noticed this because it was there when I came back into the game, and it was so close to the top of my emails that I actually took notice of it. But Birmingham City have had a takeover. The former director, I'm not even going to try and say his name, but he's excited to be taking the club forward. Although he did say in a follow-up email that there are no plans to provide the club with any investment at this stage, which probably not exactly what you want if you're a Birmingham fan. We have managed to put together quite a decent squad here as well. If we're having a look at goals, we've got 25 from Troy Deeney this season, 14 from Plachetta. Colidio, who obviously we've brought in to be the striker of the future, managing to get 11 goals himself. 10 from Cordova, Reed as well, and a 9 from Joe Aribo. If we're having a look at ability at the moment, our best player is Josip Stanisic. He's wanted by Fulham, Watford and Porto, so definitely a little bit in demand. Plachetta becomes the 2nd best player. Although we had that bug at the start of this, we have actually re-signed him a contract, so he's here till 2026 as well. Joe Aribo is the 3rd of those top 3 players. In terms of assists, there was 13 from Steven Sessegnon, which is quite funny considering I didn't expect him to be starting that many games. Cordova Reed as well, getting 11 assists, and then a further 10 from Plachetta. There are some players leaving, as we can see here. You probably just noticed if you're having a look. Mark Roberts has agreed a deal already, so he'll be joining Toronto FC at the end of the season. And Troy Deeney is also leaving at the end of the season to join LA after just refusing to sign a new contract. And at the age of 35, going into the Premier League, I'd say that's probably not a bad thing. Having a look for the season ahead, there is a £36 million in the transfer budget. There is a much bigger wage budget as well. At the moment, that does mean there's an excess of £185,000 a week to spend. Obviously, do remember there's going to be those wage increases as Birmingham head into the Premier League. But if you want to have a go at continuing this save with Birmingham in the Premier League, then you can download this save file from my Patreon if you are a Star Player member. The link is down in the description below. And if you do want to see me continue this save and do another couple of seasons with Birmingham in the Premier League, then let me know down in the comments below. If you've got this far and you've enjoyed the video as well, please do drop a like down below, hit the subscribe button, check out the videos on the screen now, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye bye.